Topic 9, Lesson 11, Problem Solving, Writing to Explain. Today you will explain how you estimated fractional amounts of objects. And one word that I'm going to be using a lot is benchmark fraction. Okay, I'm at the top of page 246. Make sure you have your notebooks and pencils ready. Okay, it says writing to explain. How do you write a math explanation? Well, let's look at this story problem here to help us. The circle graph shows the continents where the 20 most populated countries of the world are located. Estimate, I'm going to underline that, estimate the fractional part for each continent. And then it says explain how you decided. Okay, so as I'm looking at the circle here, the circle graph, I'm noticing that Asia covers most of the circle. It looks like Africa is next, North America, Europe are pretty similar, and then South America. Okay. All right, so look at the top of page 247. It says to estimate a fractional amount, use a benchmark fraction that is close to the actual fractional amount. Okay, so what we mean by benchmark fraction is the most commonly used fractions because they're easier to recognize and compare. So like here, this is showing that divided down the middle is 1/2. So this green here is about 1/2. Okay, this orange is about 1/4 of the circle. Okay, and purple here of this box is about 1/3. So using words, pictures, numbers, or symbols to write a good math explanation is right here. Okay, and we're going to practice that, but we'll just look at a couple of these. It says Asia. This is what I might write on my paper. If you draw a line from the top of the graph to the bottom, so let's do that so that we know what they're saying. Top of the graph to the bottom. You can see this continent is a little more than half. Okay, or I suppose I could do it like this, where if the circle were turned on its side, okay, it's not the best line there, but you can see it's about half. It's a little bit more than half, but, and they mention that. Okay, and then it says for Africa, this part is a little less than 1/4. Okay, so that makes me think of this circle right here. Okay, and I can see Africa is a little less than 1/4. Okay, so those are just some different ways that you can explain in words using those benchmark fractions, such as 1/2, 1/4, okay, 1/10, 1/20, okay, but our most commonly used ones would be 1/2, 1/4, 1/3, okay, 2/3, 3/4, okay, those are just some commonly used benchmark fractions. Okay, get ready to do the guided practice with me. Get your pencils ready and draw. Well, I guess you can't draw on your books, but it says, estimate the fractional part of the square that is shaded. Explain how you decided. This is where we get to write it in words. So if I see this blue square, and I have an idea in mind, oops, and that's not a good start there. So it looks like it's kind of close to, if I divide it into 4 parts, okay, obviously my parts are not very equal, but it looks kind of like it's around 3/4. Okay, it's about 3/4. So in my explanation, I want you to get ready to write this. I might write something like this, and you have to pause if you need to. About 3/4, which yours will look up and down. Okay, and I could say this part is about 3/4 because the shaded part is more than, and I guess I didn't explain this before, but it looks like it's more than 2/3, and a bit more than 3/4. It's really close to 3/4, but it's a bit more. Okay. This part is about 3/4 because the shaded part is more than 2/3 and a bit more than 3/4. So that would be an explanation that would make sense and explain your thinking. So as you write your explanations, like down here in the bottom, 4 through 6, okay, and other parts of this assignment, make sure that it makes sense and you're using the benchmark fractions to explain your answer. So number 2, it says, draw a picture to show 2/3 as a benchmark fraction. So you could draw a circle, like a pie graph, or you could draw a box, okay, to show 2/3, but go ahead and do that. And you can pause to do that. And I'm going to go on to number 3 to help you get started. Okay, so it's number 3 says, write a real world problem that involves a benchmark fraction. Your problem should ask for an explanation as part of the solution. Okay, so we could use explain how you decided or something like that. All right, so I'm going to start it off for us, and I'm going to have you guys write the question. Okay, so if I were to say, Sally ate 1/4 of I'll say pie. Whoa, she must have been hungry. Sally ate 1/4 of a pie. Okay, I want you to come up with a question that would maybe tell how much, ask about how much is left or something like that, so people know, thinking about 1/4 and what would make one whole. How many more fourths? And then, so I'll put a blank here so you can write that question. And I'll put a question mark, and then I'll put explain how you decided. We'll just use that same one they used in number 1. Okay, so go ahead and pause and do that now. Okay, so you should have paused to do that, and I noticed that I put at instead of 8, so make sure yours says 8 over there. Okay, so look at number 4. I'm going to help you get started on number 4. And it says, for 4 and 5, use the pictures below. So we've got this table with plates and glasses on it. Number 4 says, estimate the part of the table that is covered with plates. Explain how you decided. So looking at this table, if I were to divide it, okay, if I'm just looking at the plates right now, not the glasses, okay, it looks like maybe thirds. Okay, it looks like it's more than 1/4, but about a third. Okay, so somehow you need to explain what I just mentioned there, and in words, just like we did up here, to estimate that part of the table. Okay, you could do the same thing for the glasses as well. Okay, guys, look for the rest of the assignment on the board, and do your best. Good luck.